I know. I'm not all dressed up like Jeff. But ladies and gentlemen, I am the alternate Jeff. Just for tonight. And this week's Harmontown is now in session! To begin, Spencer! And now, ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Harmontown himself, His Honor, Dan Harmon!
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you. Very kind of you. It's not really kind, it's de rigueur. It's de rigueur to applaud when people come out.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I think those are evil dwarves, right?
De rigueur?
Yeah.
By default, mandatory, or rather perfunctory, part of the process.
Hardly perfunctory.
Just like evil
Having
dwarves.
you out would not be perfunctory.
Yeah, well, it kind of is, though,
essential.
isn't it?
Huh?
It's a show with me in it. I mean, if it is
it
perfunctory
is.
to bring me out.
Well,
It's perfunctory for them to applaud. Everything's fake. Everything that you ever thought was real is gone. That's what you came here for tonight, right? I saw the line outside. I got the divorce bump. I'm not. This isn't my first time at the rodeo. I remember when last time you guys were hanging from the rafters. I'd just been fired. Now, come on, we're always sold out, and you guys are always very supportive, and you always love me. And yes, there's the divorce thing. I don't know if I mentioned this, Curtis. But
you didn't. I'd heard that.
I did mention it to everybody at a show yesterday, and so now it's out. Yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, as you can probably tell if you follow us on Twitter, it's amicable and mutual. It really is a simple failure of two people to live the American dream of monogamy, or commitment rather. We didn't fail monogamy. I'm not like a sheikh from Dubai or something. We kind of like we were living together, and we were best friends, and we were eating pizza and watching movies, and then we're kind of like, we could almost do this without being married, and all that kind of stuff. How many marriages have you had?
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because my first marriage ended in divorce in much the same way, and we decided ultimately that rather than work on saving the marriage, we would work on saving the friendship. And today, that woman, my first wife, is in business with my second wife and current wife, and she is also the godmother of my daughter. So it can happen when it's done lovingly. That
is either a beautiful story or the revelation that Curtis is a strange David Koresh figure. And her cousin, her 13-year-old cousin, is the mother of my next child. And we all go to the same gun shows. It's like that Sherlock Holmes troupe of ladies that you're hanging out with.
Yeah, you've seen that. Huh?
See, I know there's crazy shit going on. No, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And I never asked enough questions about that.
The Baker Street Babes.
I don't even know what questions to ask.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
It's better not.
Let's let it be a mystery. Let's let Curtis just have his mysterious life.
Yeah.
We have an exciting show. I have all kinds of shit going on. I mean, I don't want to spoil all of it in advance. So just run down anything that I would talk about without bringing people out. Let's see. I don't have anything in here except for notes about one of our guests' movies, which was interesting. We'll talk to him about in a second. But there's the divorce thing. I don't know if well, you brought up an interesting point when you said like saving the friendship. I thought what was interesting was, it was Aaron made the very smart, like practical decision to, after we both like took a lot of space, and I wouldn't even call what I did thinking about it. I was just taking time because the therapist recommended, she's like, well, just don't make this decision hastily. Don't do anything, just like you got nothing but time now. You guys got married, you dumbasses. She talked us into it. But it was like, yeah, so just take time. And I didn't even know. And I walked into a couples therapy session, that we had scheduled, and Aaron started it by having made a decision. And it was very, very brave and thoughtful, but then everything like spiraled into crazy, like shouting and yelling and accusing each other of all of these crimes, And I think the reason that happens is because it's fucking embarrassing and hurtful to admit that love didn't work somehow. And I think you feel weird about it. You feel bad. You feel like you spilled something. And then the easy way to make it less like that is to get mad at this other person. Like, oh, we must be breaking up because they're an exceptional piece of shit. And so just yelling and for 20 minutes while the therapist sat there and like, okay, you guys could do this for the other 364 days of the year. Like, do you want to? And then it was kind of this calm sort of settle in. And the final epiphany for both of us was, well, wait a minute, if we really are breaking up, if that's really what we're doing, that we can immediately just start being nice to each other because we're both good people that are really nice to strangers all the time, and we've only really been mean to each other. And so we.
How long did that take, the process to get to that point?
3 years. No. Say. You mean to cool down? I don't know. 20 minutes, 30 minutes of like just kind of like tattling. Well, you did this, you did that, and you're like this, and you're like that, and this is why this is happening. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Like if you like, what's the implication there? If you hadn't done something, we'd be, because that's not a good idea to like be married to somebody that's based on like, oh, if you had done this thing. It's like if you had done this butterfly effect thing. It's like much better to think as you walk away from somebody that it's not because of some Mr. Destiny bad movie flower you could have brought or thing you couldn't have said, didn't say. It's much better to just think that actually, shit, we dodged a bullet before we involved children.
Exactly.
So now I'm really judgmental of everyone that has kids. And I'm kind of like, yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's interesting. And by the way, I'm very, 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 very proud of her. I'll probably start crying if I talk about that, but I mean, I like, especially I feel like, if the relationship was toxic, it was definitely toxic because of me, and that toxicity came with a dynamic that was uneven, and the uneven dynamic came with a comfort level that was probably difficult for her to, it was very, very, very brave and admirable for her to actually be the one to put the dog down, instead of waiting. And like, that's, I feel like the moral of the story is like, or the irony of it is that we got married and we were imperfect people that got married maybe for imperfect reasons, and because it wasn't working for that reason, then we went to couples therapy and said like, well, how do we make this work? And she said, well, first of all, you're both nuts, and like, I'll start seeing both of you separately, which of course that's one way to triple your money as a therapist, but I do also think that she was right, and because she started seeing Aaron separately and seeing me separately and seeing us both as a couple, and we were learning about how couples are supposed to work and how all this stuff works, and I think maybe the unspoken thing the whole time, was that we were both learning, well, given that this is how this works, and given that I'm capable of being a normal person alone, like maybe we didn't really look at it until it was like right in front of our face, and then it all happened very quickly. But I think that's the nice thing about it, is that you don't enter a relationship for flawed reasons and then leave it because you're more flawed. You leave it because you got better. You leave it because you improved. You grew and learned stuff. And she's great, and I'm friends with 99% of all of my exes, but I'll certainly continue to be like really good friends with her because she's one of the funniest people I've ever met, and blibbity blah. Give me my podcast award now. It's weird. It's weird. It was weird. The round of applause is weird. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm saying it sounds weird. It's all weird. If I was watching from an alien planet, I'd be like, that's weird. It's weird what you're doing. Why did you play that recording of you crying when your cat died? There's that guy that tweeted at me that he couldn't believe it. He was like, why did you do that? And I'm like, what did you do? I'm so mad at that guy still. I was like, what did you think I was trying to do? Impress people? I played a recording of me crying. Like, it sounds horrible and fake and dumb. And I was like, it just seemed kind of weird that you did that. I was wondering why you did it. Well, I did it because your mama.